everything in place. So great to see you today. Text to start with. Yay. Yeah, thank you for all being here. Absolutely. That's great. So let's get started. It's so wonderful to meet in this hour, in this 40-day episode that we're in. And I don't know what day it is, but I know when it ends, so I don't keep count anymore. I will tell you when it's the 20th day, but I really don't care. So going on a day-by-day basis with this, you lose track of time anyway. So that's one of the byproducts of coming together every day. So today we come together in the what I call the manual for teachers, and that's what is that? So you showed up, you were curious, you wanted to know what's going on today, and I appreciate that. So what we're going to do is looking at, how difficulties can be avoided in levels of difficulty. Well, here's another person coming to us. That's really lovely. And I'll get to that later. First we start with a prayer. Prayer, meditation, contemplation moment. So I will read a prayer from the Ur text, and they're always so right on. When I read them, it's like I can't believe it. Wow, that's so great. So for today, there's a really beautiful one too that I love to share, and so we use that to open ourselves up for what is coming, because there's something coming when we let go of our thoughts and ideas and concerns and issues and conflicts and all that, because suddenly there's space for something else, and this something else is actually with a capital S. It's giving us silence, and it's giving us peace and light and love and connectedness. So it is great to become present in that and have that fill our consciousness. And so that's the basic, goal of the meditation. It's in fact realizing what is already here present with you, but was a bit like away from your consciousness because you were distracted by things that seem to be much more important, or habitual things that you can't let go of, or whatever it is. So in this, at least 5 minutes that we're going to do this, I would ask you I'm asking you to let this go and leave that for what it is. All your concerns, all your mind wanderings, all your trouble, all your conflict, all your anger, all your, you name it. So let it flow through you, out of you. Don't do anything with it. Not for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Don't do anything with it. So then we see what happens when we open up to come in touch with timelessness, with love and light. And so breathing helps. That's one other aspect. It's like breathing helps just to help yourself to become open and more present here in yourself. And the breathing out is really great to use for release. Release of what, you ask? So release of tension, or release of concern. Who knows? I don't know how it works, but it works. So that's why I offer it to you. So I use 2 booklets today. One is the Jesus is Speaking book, and the other one is the Miracle Healers Handbook. But it is all part of the Course in Miracles. One is a manual for teachers. So the piece I'm using for the Miracle Healers Handbook is from the manual for teachers. And Jesus is Praying is a prayer book. I can send it to you if you want. Just let me know. and I got a PDF of it. And there are Bible phrases and there are prayers from the, say, 220 plus lessons of A Course in Miracles, because in the Urtext of A Course in Miracles, after lesson 220, suddenly there's a prayer format. Like, words are not so important anymore. It's now directly for the experience that you can have with the truth of who you are, with your inner being. So I'm going to read that to you right now. Oh yeah. So yeah, let me know if you want any of these booklets. I made them into a PDF and I can send it to you. So yeah, I will send it to you. Absolutely. So yeah, relax into this. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. My Father knows my holiness. Shall I deny his knowledge and believe in what his knowledge makes impossible? Shall I deny his knowledge and believe in what his knowledge makes impossible? Shall I accept as true what he proclaims as false? Or shall I take his word for what I am, since he is my creator and the one who knows the true condition of his Son? Well, let me repeat that once more. Or shall I take his word, with a capital H and W, for what I am, since he is my creator and the one who knows the true condition of his Son? Father, here's the prayer. Father, I was mistaken in myself because I failed to realize the source from which I came. I have not left that source to enter into a body and to die. My holiness remains a part of me as I am part of you with a capital Y. And my mistakes about myself are dreams. I let them go today, and I stand ready to receive your word alone for what I really am. Father, I was mistaken in myself because I failed to realize the source from which I came. I have not left that source to enter into a body and to die. My holiness remains a part of me as I am part of you. And my mistakes about myself are dreams. I let them go today, and I stand ready to receive your word alone for what I really am. All right, so that was our beginning, so to speak, our short moment of contemplation. So that's great, thank you. So let's have a little chat about teacher, manual for teacher. And say the one part that I love to say look at today is, first of all, who's the teacher of God. That's one thing, and the other thing is then the avoidance of order of difficulty. That sounds difficult, doesn't it? So I'll get to that really quick so that confusion can go out of the way. But who's the teacher of God? So it says in the course, in the manual for teacher, everyone who chooses to be one is a teacher of God. And so what does that mean? It's like you allow yourself to be open to receive guidance, to say step back and let the light do the work for you. And that means that it is like your possibility to start to demonstrate truth. That's in fact, you decide, yes, I want to demonstrate the truth, and that what can come through me, yes, I give that a chance to be expressed as an essential part in my awakening. Like, I need to demonstrate that. I need to practice it. I need to do that. And it's not that you have to become good at it. But the thing that you have to become good at in a certain sense is then to step back. And not thinking that you know what is the best for everyone, or what you should say, or how that's supposed to look, and all that. So all the, say, self-concern can step backwards in order for your certainty to step forward. And that's in a very short, say, very short definition of the teacher of God. So then it is like recognizing your say your function in that sense is also a recognition that you're not alone in that you're not like one teacher teaches everyone about how it is and what it should look like. No, it is more like you recognize your oneness with your brother, and you're not going to do that before you actually feel your brother's presence, in the sense of you recognize his pain, and because it's your pain, you don't see yourself separate from the pain of your brother. And that's one of the, say, characteristics of the teacher of God. And we all have been there. Like we did that. We actually came to the point where we recognize, okay, so if I feel pretty good about myself, but my brother's suffering, then still there's a conflict. It is not clear and say bright and clear, but there's something going on, because I feel for my brother. I want him to be happy. I want that. And so in the manual for teachers, there are all kinds of aspects that are looked at. It's like, what are the characteristics? Joy. How does a teacher, say, teacher of God, spend his day, for instance? Or what phases does he go? Like, is it all like just one change and then whoosh, he's a teacher of God and he's, say, the illuminate mind? Or is it different? So all this is in the teacher's manual. There are lots of questions in there, in fact, that get an answer in a very nice way. So, and then there's also the part, and that's where we come to today, is like avoidance of the order of difficulty in miracles. And so to make that simpler, we know this also from Joel Goldsmith. He's like, if you think there's a difference between a cold or a cancer, you think that there's a difference between those two, then you're mistaken. That's not true. So it's like there's no order of difficulty. They're all the same. Like, illusions are illusions. They're all the same. So in fact, they're on the same level, the same intensity, the same mistake, in fact, or the same illusion. It is the same illusion, thinking that you can be separate from God, and having that being, shown to you by yourself. So this goes on in our thinking a lot. Easily, your first response would be, "There's a difference," or like, "Oh, well, hello." Somebody just heard that he has a cold. It's different than the doctor tells you that you have a cancer, or not. Like, well, no, there's no difference, in fact. You've seen it in the perspective of the love and light that you are. You see that any kind of definition like that, or any kind of prognosis or diagnosis as that, would be say, a mix-up. In fact, it is not. It is the same description of an illusion. Whether that's made special by the big sea, or whether that's made small by the small sea. It really does not matter. But how, and what are we going to do with this? Because, well, see, your first response to this is influencing you in how you experience this and what you make real for yourself. If you, say, run into fear by hearing about the big C, so to speak, about cancer, and that throws you off the wagon, and a cold doesn't do that, then there's some work to do, in a sense. There's something to be reminded of. Like, oh, wait a minute, yes, this is a dream. That's an illusion. If I realize that I'm as God created me, and that can never change, then what could possibly be the opposite of that? Like, that does not exist, however I try, however hard I try to make it real for myself. Because that's an old habit. It's an old way of thinking, to make these diagnoses, to make these symptoms, in that sense, real for yourself. Like, well, that's not who you are. That has nothing to do with it. So we read this too in our prayer just a moment ago. Like, would I step into fear and say, ignore, in fact, what my Creator knows, because He actually created me whole and perfectly? Would I actually go against that? Like, why? Why would I do that? Why would I do that? And trust my own, say, insanity better than God's complete giving? And it's just a matter of admission, in fact, to admit that that is insane. It's like, well, yeah, that's crazy. How could I ever think that? See, and that is a start of the change of mind that can occur, but that's not the end of it. So that's why there's the manual for teachers, where you can also practice these things, because you gotta learn, listen, learn, and do. So the doing part is then to avoid making differences real, in fact. You avoid the truth. You were good in denying the truth. We're all experts at that. Now you're going to use that expertise, in fact, against the way ego mind thinks. So, and that's a learning process, because there's a bit of conflict here and there in accepting that, and that's an understatement. Yeah. So that's great. So we're going to read one paragraph and then see what happens. There's no order of difficulty in spiritual healing, as it says here in the Miracle Healers Handbook. As a miracle healer, you remain alert, which is a teacher of God. As a miracle healer, you remain alert in the certainty of your enlightened mind that the miracle does nothing. It is always only an undoing of the meaningless order of conceptual thought that was your sick and dying self-identity. So as a miracle healer, you remain alert in the certainty of your enlightened mind that the miracle does nothing. It is always only an undoing of the meaningless order of conceptual thought that was your sick and dying self-identity. So here it is being said, like, sick and dying identity is what your ego mind is, that thing that keeps denying truth. It believes it is in a body and that it will die, and it can become sick, and it's a bit like addicted to drama and disaster. It looks for it all the time. So it's also then accepting the fact that it's a sick and dying body. So whether that's going to happen now or later, okay, what's the difference about that? So ego mind is really what a dead mind is in that sense. So there's more of that in the coming, say, 10 days. All the lessons that are related to the undoing of ego mind are in the Ur text as daily lesson. So every day we're lesson 330 today. Tomorrow it will be 331, and that's the first, say, prayer. We can read that already, say, when we get to the end of this meeting. I will read it because it's like an essential part in the undoing of ego mind. So it's like the undoing of believing that you can live in a dead and sick and dead, dying body. So as it is being said here. So, okay, so the first paragraph of the original title is "How can perception of order of difficulties be avoided?" The belief in order of difficulties is the basis for the world's perception. So it rests on differences, on uneven background and shifting foreground, on unequal heights and different sizes, on varying degrees of darkness and light, and thousands of contrasts in which each thing seen competes with every other in order to be recognized. Well, if you want to have a fresh experience of that, turn on your television or walk through a town. Like you see all kinds of things screaming at you, like flashing light and all that kind of stuff. And big boards and lots of noises, and it attracts attention. Like it wants to be different, it wants to be special. A larger object overshadows a smaller one. A brighter thing draws the attention from another with less intensity of appeal. And a more threatening idea, or one conceived of as more desirable by the world standard, completely upsets the mental balance. What the body's eyes behold is only conflict. Look not to them for peace and understanding. Look not to them for peace and understanding. So this is great, because being in this moment of, okay, so there was Thanksgiving Day, that's wonderful. Now we have the Black Friday. The Black Friday is like the greatest day of the year for the ego mind. There's all kinds of differences. The newest apparatus is for sale. The newest media, the newest telephone, the newest whatever is for sale, and it is being announced, like you're bombarded with it, whether you like it or not. So it is making it special. It's like, this is the one you should get. This is, and this, it knows how to play the mind, so to speak. And that's a really great example of how that works, how the world is screaming, in fact, for attention. And why does it do that? So if you spend your time, especially today, when everyone goes shopping or not, it was actually yesterday, but it doesn't matter. I think it's continuing anyway. And then we have Cyber Monday, so that's something to look forward to. So if you could make a silent, still day of that instead of going out, you see that, wow, the screaming I haven't heard. Wow, these loud noises, I did not pick that up. I did not see that at all. I spent my day in perfect quiet, in perfect stillness, in fact. Well, that was exactly what I did today. And it's like, oh my God, how nice and how great it is to let go of any kind of desire in that sense, to let go of any kind of need that you're supposed to have, and that you start to believe that you will have to have, otherwise you're not participating in this nonsense. So That is great. So I think that is pretty clear what's being said here. So it's nice described in a brighter thing, for instance, draws the attention from another with less intensity of appeal, a more threatening idea, or one conceived of as more desirable by the world's standards, completely upsets the mental balance. That's a great way of putting it. It's like it creates a conflict in your mind, and that seems only to be satisfied or gratified by buying it. Like you need it. If you don't have that, then you're not complete. You will have to have that, otherwise you're not whole. That's what it screams at you, and it's like that disturbs the mental balance in a sense, and you recognize this. It's like if you allow that, but if you turn to your stillness and let it all fall apart, then the desire dissipates, the need for it dissipates. Like, oh my God, you're so happy that you didn't do that. It feels so good not to do it. Look not at them for peace and understanding. What the eyes behold is only conflict. How is that? What the eyes behold is only conflict. How can that be true? What the eyes behold is only conflict. So what is it that we see then? So what is it that we see? What we see is an image, right? An image that is reflecting our ideas about ourselves. But what are our ideas? They're not from God. They're made up ideas. Like your mind is generating thoughts and you love to express them, you love to share them, you love to see them and all this. It's like that is a continuing stream of ideas, in fact. So if you allow that to become if you validate that in that sense, you will perceive it too. You will literally see what you think. And you might think like, well, no, what I've seen, I really don't want to see that. So, well, yes, you did. You did ask for it. Otherwise, you would not see it. So it's like you do these things very specifically, and then especially with the thoughts and the ideas, because it's like you create or perpetuate, if you want, you perpetuate conflict. That's where you use your perception for. As a human being with your ego mind, if you believe that your thoughts are valuable and that you really need them and use them for your day, so to speak, then you see that there will always be conflict. It will never dissolve. It will not be peaceful. It will not. And weird things are happening because you have no idea what is going on. And you don't even know where it came from anymore. You really think that somebody else is attacking you. And you think that the world situation, as you see them on the news, comes from somewhere else, some kind of power outside yourself dictating to you what the world is like. You know, and this is the height of insanity that you believe in. That is just, it's a common human sense. So to have that change, you can imagine that will stir up some emotions and some, it's a process to be undone of that. Because it's ingrained to every cell of your body. And it's, manifested and consolidated. That's another thing. Like it's manifested and consolidated in all relationships that you have. Because all your relationships, as you know them, like they're all based in that sense on an I do this for you and you do that for me kind of basis. You know? So there's a dependency or a bargain, if you want. There's an exchange going on. And so that is an invitation to conflict more than anything. So the sentence that comes up there, my freedom is in you alone. And that is so great to realize that. No, it's not out there. No, it's not out there. No, it's not out there. It's like, no, it's happening in me. My freedom is in you alone. In my experience of my godliness, of my connectedness, say all that doesn't matter anymore. It literally dissolves, and the experience of that, it nurtures me. It confirms my identity in such a way that I can completely receive that and completely enjoy that with no conflict in it. It is peaceful, like there's no conflict in it. So to step away from that and say running after your human thoughts is an attack upon yourself, and it will bring you right into your, say, war zone, into your conflict with yourself. So illusions, it says here, illusions are always illusions of differences. How could it be otherwise? By definition, an illusion is an attempt to make something real that is regarded as of major importance, but is recognized as being untrue. It is recognized as being untrue. It's very important. It's regarded as very important, like major importance, but at the same time it's recognized as untrue. The mind therefore seeks to make it true of its intensity of desire to have it for itself. Illusions are travesties of creation, attempts to bring truth to lies. Finding truth unacceptable, the mind revolts against truth and gives itself an illusion of victory. I got what I want. See, here's proof. I got what I want. Yes. And it does not fulfill. And you know what I'm talking about. Finding health a burden, it retreats into feverish dreams. And in these dreams, the mind is separate, different from other minds, with different interests of its own, and able to gratify its need at the expense of others. Oh, that sounds pretty intense already. At the expense of others. Like it makes things through, it really doesn't matter. It wants it, and it will get it. It's like a little child in the toy store. It's like, no, this thing, I have to have that. It's like, I want this. I want this exact thing I want. And I have to have it. So this is you in your humanhood, asking for all the things that you actually know are not true and will never satisfy, gratify, but you want it so badly to have your need met. And you see the untrue nature of that too is that actually it is your needs are met. When you become still, you let it fall apart. It's just like we did in the contemplation. You let everything fall apart for just a moment. You discover like, well, my mind becomes quiet. Wow, I had ideas about it, but I had ideas popping up that were so important a moment ago, but actually I can't remember them anymore. They're gone. I can't believe it. So you know that place is in you too. And then still you can be tempted to go and adventure and try to look for something that is not there. And you find it. You find something that is not there. You don't want to recognize it immediately, but actually you know it already. So but that's not going to do it for me. So and this goes really far into things, into relationships, into persons, into situations, into you name it. You know, it's like the whole human life is based on it. Well, the idea of conflict, you see that manifested around you, and maybe even in your household, you see that manifested. You see that is given to you as a result of what it is that you want. And it can dissolve, of course, because there's no order of difficulty in the undoing of it. The only requirement is to allow illusions to be illusions and say like, okay, I've no need of this at all. I see that it's part of my dream, but it has no reality. What I want is what is real about me. I want to experience that. Like that is in God alone. That is in my, say, center of my being. That's where that takes place. So has that an effect on your physicality? Yeah, absolutely. Has that an effect on your relationships? Yeah. You will not, say, you will less and less identify with it until it's resolved. You see literally that you didn't have to do that. Your human ways of dealing with it, you didn't have to do that. And you discover that it's like everything is perfectly orchestrated. I don't need to control this at all. It is given me, and it tells me on a moment-by-moment basis what to do, where to go, what to say, and to whom. You know, and it has everything to do with your focus. It's like, where do you want to be? So, coming back to the teacher's manual, the teacher of God decides then to like, yeah, this is what I want. I want the truth, and I want the truth to be revealed to me. I want to become aware when I'm, say, valuing my dream, or when I'm choosing for an illusion above the direct experience of communication with my Creator. So that is the say the offering, in fact, in the manual for teachers. And this is just, say, part of the this is just a part of the one of the first sections out of it, out of the manual for teachers. It's part 3 of the book. And so after the lessons you get the manual for teachers. But you can read in it without your first, say, admission, I want to be a teacher of God. You can still read in it. And it is not so much that you have to say that to yourself, I want to be a teacher of God. It's like you recognize yourself in one. And while you're reading, it's like, yes, of course, yes, of course, yes, this is what I want. So it comes to you. And then at a certain point, you discover too, at least, that it is some kind of decision. You know, it is some kind of decision. So there is a moment in which you actually admit that and start to demonstrate that. And whether that is in classes, or whether that is in all kinds of ways in which you can express that, and being present. All the places that you go, you allow this teaching to stay close to you and help you to respond to the human things that you were so used to, and respond to it in a different way, in a new way. Or respond not at all to it while you were used to doing that. Okay, so here's the lesson that I love to share. So this is lesson 331. There is no conflict, for my will is yours. How foolish, Father, to believe your Son could cause himself to suffer. Could he make a plan for his damnation and be left without a certain way to his release? You love me, Father. You could never leave me desolate, to die within a world of pain and cruelty. How could I think that love has left itself? There's no will except the will of love. Fear is a dream and has no will that can conflict with yours. Conflict is sleep, and peace, awakening. Death is illusion, life eternal, truth. There is no opposition to your will. There is no conflict, for my will is yours. Forgiveness shows us that God's will is one and that we share it. Let us look upon the holy sights forgiveness shows today, that we may find the peace of God. Amen. There is no conflict, for my will is yours.